Tell me how I literally just finished my live, and I was about to get up, and God is like, no, no, no. Did you forget about this message? So apparently, this was a message I needed to give earlier today, and I had forgotten about it. But here it goes. Listen. God is saying his people have been just surviving. Okay, his people have just been surviving. You know, many of God's people, they've been operating, you guys have been operating on a very low percentage of your capacity. You've been operating on a very low percentage of your capacity. For example, if your capacity is 100%, you guys have been operating at 10%, 20%, 30%. Okay, God is saying, my people have just been like, they were in a season where I was providing for them. I was giving them their daily bread, manna. Okay, and you haven't seen my people thrive. My people have been surviving. My people have been surviving. You haven't seen my people thrive yet. You guys had some people in your life who was attacking you because they saw the manna that God was giving you. God is saying, that was them surviving. That was me giving them their daily needs. That was me providing the bare minimum for them. Okay, you haven't seen nothing yet. You're going to start seeing my people thriving. Okay, let me just remember this word here. All right, God is saying, you haven't even seen half of what they can do yet. You haven't seen half of what they can do. You haven't seen the level of gifts that they have, the level of talents that they have. You haven't seen it yet. A lot of people are not fully operating in their role that I have for them. A lot of them is not fully operating in their role. So all people have been seeing is your bare minimum. They've been seeing you operating at a very small percentage. And God is saying, people are going to see you in your role, your different roles, your different callings, different titles. Okay? People are going to start seeing my people thriving. In their past season, they were just surviving. And they got many, many, many attacks while they were just surviving. Now, you're going to see them thrive. You're going to see them thrive. Okay, some of you guys, you're waiting for God gave you a promise of a child. So that means that you haven't even stepped into your role as a parent yet. That's a whole different role you haven't even stepped into. And you will, but people haven't seen that version of you. People haven't experienced that person yet. Some of you guys, you're waiting for marriage. You haven't stepped into that role as a husband or a wife yet. Okay, so people haven't seen you operate in that manner. Okay, some of you guys are business owners, CEOs, this, that, and the other, president, future this, future that. You haven't stepped into those roles yet. So many prophetic giftings that God has not opened yet for you. Okay, God is saying, you haven't seen my people yet. You think this is it? This is bare minimum, friend. This was nothing. They haven't scratched the surface yet, friend. They haven't even started. People will look at you and they think that you're doing big things, and God is like, No, I am. They're doing, and he's grateful, and you may be grateful for the things that you're doing, and you are. But God is saying you haven't seen it yet. You haven't seen it yet. You haven't seen them operating at 50% capacity and 60 and 70 and 80. You haven't seen them moving yet. Half of my people were sad and depressed and anxiety ridden, and they still. Let me tell you something. And I've said this before. You see, you guys who put out the effort when it was hard, and you did things that God has asked you to do, kicking and screaming and dragging yourself to the finish line, dragging yourself to start that, dragging yourself to open that, dragging yourself to accomplish that. God has a plan for you, all right? But you need to understand that God is saying, they haven't seen my people yet. They see you, but they haven't seen you at the level that God sees you. They haven't seen you operating fully in your calling, fully in your identity. Kings and queens. Kings and queens. Kings and queens. Royal priesthood. All right? Yeah, so the world is going to start seeing you thriving. Leaving the lack behind. Leaving the survival mode behind. And you're getting ready to thrive. Trust and believe. All right, guys. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to the channel. Talk to you soon.